All right, today we're diving into a really fascinating high-stakes story. It's about on the entire future of electric vehicles in America, and it's all about one company, Lithium Americas. So here's the big question, right? How on earth does a company with absolutely zero revenue, I mean zero, manage to land a $2.26 billion government loan and get a giant like General Motors to back them? Is this the investment of a lifetime, or is it just a huge gamble? Let's break it all down. Okay, so the company at the heart of all this is Lithium Americas, trading under the ticker LAC. And you got to understand right now, they're what's called a pre-revenue company. But they're holding one massive ace up their sleeve. And that ace is something called the Thacker Pass project out in Nevada. Now look, this is not just some hole in the ground. The whole idea here is for this mine to become a critical piece, a cornerstone, really, of the entire electric vehicle supply chain, right here in North America. Literally everything for this company is riding on this one project. So let's start with the bull case. Why is everyone from Wall Street to Washington, D.C. so excited about this company? Well, it really boils down to two things: a monster of an asset and some very powerful friends. It all starts right here, Thacker Pass. We're talking about one of the largest known lithium deposits anywhere in the world. And the really crucial part, it's right here on U.S. soil. You know, with all the talk these days about supply chains and national security, having a domestic source of what they call white gold, well, that is a massive strategic advantage. And that strategic importance, that's why you're seeing a number this big, $2.26 billion. That's a loan commitment from the U.S. Department of Energy to help get this thing built. I mean, that is way more than just a vote of confidence. That's the government basically saying this project is vital to the country. And it's not just the government throwing its weight around. Nope. General Motors is all in. They've taken a 38% direct ownership stake in the Thacker Pass project itself. You have to understand, this isn't just GM buying some stock. This is a deep, strategic partnership. And just how deep does that partnership go? Well, GM isn't just an investor. They're the customer, the guaranteed customer. They've signed on the dotted line for a 20-year deal to buy every last bit of lithium that comes out of the mine's first phase. Think about that for a second. That just wipes out one of the biggest risks for any new mine. Who's going to buy our stuff? So you see the bull case, right? It's pretty compelling. This whole thing is way bigger than just one mining company. When you have the Department of Energy and General Motors both backing you, well, Lithium Americas stops looking like just a speculative stock and starts looking like a key piece of America's industrial policy. Okay, but it's never that simple, is it? You have to flip the coin over. And when you actually start digging into the company's own paperwork, their financial filings, you start to see the bear case. And it is a serious one. Listen to this. This is a direct quote from their own official filing. The company has recurring net losses and negative operating cash flows and expects to continue to operate at a loss for the foreseeable future. Wow. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Despite all the powerful friends, this company is just burning through cash with no end in sight. It's a pure bet on the future. And here's what that looks like in black and white. Zero revenue, zero income tax, because there's no income. For an investor, this is tricky. How do you even value a company like this? It's not a comeback story. This is a build-it-from-nothing story. And if you're thinking of investing, you better be patient. I mean, really patient. They won't even start tapping that big government loan until late 2025. They're hoping to finish building phase 1 by the end of 2027, with money really starting to come in during 2028. That is a long time, and a lot can go wrong between now and then. So you ask, what could go wrong? Well, pretty much the whole shebang. See, Thacker Pass is a claystone deposit, which means getting the lithium out is a really complex chemical process. What you're seeing here is just a simplified diagram, but the real thing is a massive, complicated industrial plant they have to build from scratch. The risk that they can't build it on time or on budget, what we call execution risk, is absolutely huge. And that's not all. The company itself lists a whole bunch of other things that could go sideways. Even if they build a perfect mine, their profits are totally at the mercy of lithium prices, which, can swing wildly. Then there's the risk of protecting their special extraction tech, or changes to tax laws, or even cyber attacks. It's a long list. So there you have it. Two completely different stories, right? On one hand, you have this super strategic national asset with powerful backers. On the other, You have a company that's not making any money and has to pull off this massive, risky construction project. So, how do we weigh all this? It's time for a verdict. Okay, let's put it all on the table side by side. The bulls are betting on the location, the government loan, and that GM partnership. They see a de-risked play on a vital U.S. supply chain. The bears? They're looking at the calendar, at that 2028 date, and at the sheer difficulty of what needs to be built. They just see a ton of risk. So, after all that, what's the final call? What's the verdict on Lithium Americas? Look, here's how you have to think about this. This is absolutely not a short-term trade. The government and GM have taken two of the biggest historical risks for a project like this right off the table. Can you get the money, and can you sell the product? So really, a bet on this company is less about its quarterly performance and more of a direct bet on the entire mission to bring the EV supply chain back home to America. But let's be crystal clear about the single biggest thing that could blow this whole thing up. It's one word: execution. Can they actually build this thing? On time, on budget? The entire bull case, everything we've just talked about, hinges on that. For the next 3 years, every single update about construction is going to be incredibly important. So, in the end, this isn't just about whether you believe in the company. It's really about you, the investor. Are you willing to bet on a long-term vision? Do you have the patience and the stomach, really, to wait this thing out until 2028? Through all the ups and downs? That's the real question you have to ask yourself. And that's our deep dive on Lithium Americas. If you want more explainers like this, digging into the companies and ideas that are shaping our world, make sure you subscribe.